Welcome to Government Contract Review Committee. I'd like to thank everybody for their patience and their understanding with all the rescheduling and stuff that had to take place because of the recent flooding. We want to get started off first. We have our new committee assistant with us today, and I'd like to introduce her, Ashley Taylor. Welcome to the committee, and hopefully we'll make you proud. With that said, I do think we have a quorum, so clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith. Present. Senator Richardson. Senator Thomas. Representative Ballman. Present. Representative McCool.
Here.
Representative Rourks.
Here.
Representative Petrie. Senator Douglas. And Chairman Hart.
Here. Thank you so much. First item on the agenda is consideration of the minutes of the March 11th meeting of the committee. There's a motion that may be considered as being approved.
So moved.
Motion by Senator Meredith. Do I have a second? Second by Representative Ballman. All those in favor, please say aye or vote aye. All those opposed, vote nay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith. Aye. Senator Richardson. Aye. Senator Thomas. Representative Ballman.
Aye.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Rourks.
Aye.
Senator Douglas. And Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Total number of items on the agenda today are 310 in the amount of $139,423,297.38. All vendors are registered with the Secretary of State's office. First, we'll take up the deferred list, which is with the Department of Highways, and our number is 10 on the March routine PSC green list, and number 3 on the PSC amendment ivory list. Please come forward and identify yourself for the record.
Good morning. I'm Eric Pelfrey, the Transportation Cabinet's Division of Professional Services.
All right, thank you so much. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you so much. Co-Chair Douglas originally had some questions. I think we've got them answered over the interim. So unless anybody has any questions, can I entertain a motion for approval? And this would be for item number 10 on the routine PSC green list. I have a motion by Senator Meredith. Do I have a second? Second by Representative Rourks. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith. Aye. Senator Richardson. Aye. Senator Thomas. Representative Ballman.
Aye.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Rourks.
Aye.
Senator Douglas. Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Now item number 3 on the PSC amendment ivory list. Do we have any questions or comments on that one? If not, I have a motion by Senator Meredith for approval. Do I have a second? Second by Representative Ballman. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote nay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith. Aye. Senator Richardson. Aye. Senator Thomas. Representative Ballman. Aye. Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Rourks.
Aye.
Senator Douglas. And Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you so much for coming. I know it was a pretty hard question and answer session for you, but
I'll see if I can do better next time.
we do appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. So I'm here now. Next on the deferred list is Western Kentucky University is number 61 on the March routine PSC green list. The vendor is now registered with the Secretary of State's office. Is there? I just see. Do we have a motion to consider the contract reviewed without objection? Motion by Senator Meredith. Second by Senator Richardson. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith. Aye. Senator Richardson. Senator Thomas. Representative Bowman. Aye. Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Rourks.
Yes.
Senator Douglas. and Co-Chair Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Next order of business is consideration of the agenda, including the personal service contract list, personal service contract amendment list, memorandum of agreement list, memorandum of agreement amendment list, the Kentucky Entertainment Incentive Program agreement list, and the deferred list, except for those items selected for further review. Do we have a motion to consider the contract? Motion made by Senator Meredith. Do I have a second? Senator Richardson. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith, Senator Richardson, Senator Thomas, Representative Ballman, Representative McCool,
Yes.
Representative Rourke,
Yes.
Senator Douglas, Chairman Hart.
Yes. First items on the pool list are with the Department of Education and our numbers 9 on the routine PSC green list and numbers 35 through 50 on the routine MOA pink list and number 60 on the MOA amendment yellow list. If representatives are here, please come forward and identify yourself for the record.
Good morning. My name is Karen Worth. I'm the Budget Director at the Department of Education.
Good morning. My name's Melody Cooper, and I am with the Office of Special Education and Early Learning.
Good morning. I'm Todd Davis. I'm the Director of the Division of Educator Preparation and Certification in the Office of Educator Licensure and Effectiveness.
All right. Thank you all so much for being here. Would you all please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you all so much. And I believe Representative McCool has questions on number 9.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate you all being here today. I just want to make sure that I'm correct. I think the General Assembly authorized this as a pilot program sometime in the past. However, I just wonder what kind of attention are you getting? Is it being received well? 'Cause some people I'm hearing don't really want to do this, maybe. And does parents have the opportunity to opt out if they want to?
Thank you for the question. So, yes, this is voluntary, and really, the amount of the pilot was only going to cover 500 students total throughout the state, and so it's completely optional. In fact, they don't have to opt out; they have to opt in. Okay. So, they're currently last I heard, around 300 families who had signed up for services.
Is it being received pretty well, or do you
It
get
had
feedback?
we had a protest which slowed down the work from September through December, and so we were really just getting revved up again, and so it's kind of been slow going, but as far as I know, they're not hearing any pushback from families or anything like that. I know they have some signed up for professional development coming up soon.
Okay. Well, maybe let us know how it goes at some point in time.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions on number 9? All right. Let's move on. I think Representative Ballman has questions on numbers 35 through 50 on the routine MOA pink list.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you guys for being here today. As it relates to 35 through 50, my first question is, what are high quality instructional resources, and who determines what high quality is?
Thank you. I wasn't able to swear in initially. My name is Crystal Rowland. I'm the Director of the Division of Academic Program Standards in the Office of Teaching and Learning.
And we can take care of you real fast if you raise your right hand.
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you so much. Go ahead.
I'm also joined by Danielle Ward, who is our Read to Achieve grant administrator, but I can answer the question regarding high quality instructional resources. So we do have a definition at the agency of high quality instructional resources. They're aligned to our Kentucky Academic Standards for Reading and Writing. They're research based and or externally validated. They're comprehensive, meaning they include engaging text, books, multimedia, tasks, and assessments. That sets that apart from more supplemental resources that you might see utilized in schools. They're based on fostering vibrant student learning experiences. They're culturally relevant and free from bias and accessible for all students. As far as determining that, we do look for the evidence basis behind the resources. There are clearinghouses nationwide that look at resources, such as Ed Reports, I know does comprehensive reviews, but we funnel all of that information through the Quality Curriculum Task Force, and then they approve our list of sort of green rated resources for Kentucky.
All right. So really, how do districts qualify for the resources?
I'm going to defer to Danielle Ward to share that information regarding the grants and how they are awarded.
Good morning. My name is Danielle Ward. I haven't been sworn in. Should I?
Go ahead. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you so much. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. Could you please repeat the question?
Yeah. How do districts qualify for these resources that were just explained here?
So this is a competitive grant, and so they submit an application that has multiple questions. One of the questions will ask them to identify the high-quality instructional resource that they would like to purchase for their school. They must show need by using testing data and so forth. But they fill out a form called the Instructional Resources Alignment Rubric, and that rubric is aligned to the CAS for the reading and writing, and provides districts an opportunity to select high-quality instructional resources based on that rubric, which is aligned with our standards.
So what's the I guess you guys have a list of these that you maintain that districts will then go and look at your menu of offerings, but help me understand, because in the explanation of what actual high quality instruction resource is, you mentioned it's an engaging text or a book. What does that mean?
So it's looking for opportunities for students to go deeply with the content. So it's not just a list of texts, but opportunities for them to demonstrate learning, explore learning. Our standards include many opportunities for students to make connections and draw conclusions and analyze text. And so the resource should support that throughout, across the comprehensive year, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Meredith.
How many districts submitted applications?
There were 155 schools. The schools actually submit. And 155 schools submitted, and they were all awarded.
I'm always used to dealing with the district numbers, which I think we have 171 in Kentucky. So how many schools do we have in Kentucky?
About 1,400, I think.
1,400. So
Mm-hmm.
less than 10%.
And we can get you a list of those districts and schools if that's of interest.
Well, I'm always curious about the distribution of resources, and we certainly want the neediest to receive those funds. So do we have any schools that probably should have filed applications that didn't?
Probably, yes.
Did anyone reach out to them to encourage them to do that?
Because of the way that we do we call it a request for application for our competitive grants, and we basically just mirror the RFP process because we do receive so many grants that are competitive. And so we follow that criteria of reaching out and sending that information out equally to all districts, but we don't pursue ones that we feel like need to, because we want to keep it as equitable as possible across the state. So no.
I appreciate it, but that's kind of an inverse kind of relationship
I got
there.
you. Understand.
If the neediest are not submitting, then we're not getting the resources to the areas that we need them to get to, and just I'm not sure how we leverage that. You know, in the description that we receive here, it mentions pay for extended time or release time for teachers to engage in company and vendor directed high quality, yada yada. So is this a predominantly an after school program?
No.
Is it a tutoring program?
No, that is professional learning for teachers to successfully implement the high-quality instructional resource they purchase. We don't want to just put the resource in their hands. We also want to train them to use it effectively. And so this may go beyond their district required professional learning hours. And if so, we want to pay the teachers for their time.
Would they do this through a workshop, or are they doing it after hours?
They submit a plan and they let us know how they're going to do it. Sometimes they'll have a release day and they'll bring in subs to work with students while they work there on site. Other times they may be working through the weekend. It just depends.
Do they themselves submit their names for consideration, or does that come from the principal of the school? Or
That would be all K through 3 reading instructional staff is required to do that.
okay, so it is requirement.
Yes.
Okay. Any early indications of what kind of success we're seeing?
We're currently working with the Reading Research Center, and hopefully we will have some feedback very soon. We have some qualitative data from surveys that we've sent out, and the reception has been very well received. They are thankful for the funds to purchase the quality instructional materials and to participate in the professional learning.
Do you envision when we come back next January that there'll be requests for additional funding for this?
That's a good question. Since the funding for this particular mini grant is specifically designated for the high quality instructional resource and professional learning to successfully implement that, I assume school districts who have not purchased a high quality instructional resource and they need it for their intervention services, that they will want this funding again.
Well, I hope so, but just help me a little bit, and I don't want to belabor this point, that the history of this is very interesting because our reading scores have continued to decline over the last decade. Who's charting the course for this? How did we decide to engage in this particular program? Well, let me ask you in a different way. I see you're struggling a little bit, but we used to have the Collaborative Center for Literacy Development, which 20-year contract, $1 million a year, and that we terminated, I think, 2 years ago because we weren't moving our scores. So now who's driving the train, if that's a more appropriate question?
That's our Reading Research Center at the University of Louisville. And we're just getting started, and so we're hopeful.
And how are they selected? How were they selected?
They were selected through an RFP process.
Is their role different than this collaborative center that I made reference to earlier?
Yes.
And how's it different?
So my understanding, because I'm not as familiar with the previous group that you discussed, but the Reading Research Center that we're currently with is analyzing all of the qualitative and quantitative data from the RTA recipients and coming together to collectively show the effectiveness of all of the interventions that are being employed, not just specific programs.
Right now, they have submitted surveys that must be administered to all Read to Achieve grant recipients. They are also scheduling focus groups and interviews as well as observations. So we hope to see some really great data from them soon.
My wife's a retired second grade teacher. She taught for 31 years and still substitutes 2 or 3 days a week. And we have a lot of discussion about reading and our lack of success. And she says, quite simply, we just need to give them a good basal reader. And I'm just always bewildered. We collect so much data, then it seems we never do anything with the data. And shouldn't we redirect those resources to instructional purposes? But that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right. Representative Rourke.
Thank you. just wanted to make a brief comment. I'm a proud Pi Beta Phi alum, and our philanthropy had always focused on childhood literacy. So very excited to see these programs with these professional resources being put into place. Of course, with childhood literacy, it's not just about the act of reading and really honing in on our earliest learners between K through 3, but also fostering the love of reading and finding that at a very early age. And what I think we've seen over the last several years is that, children they need more time spent reading and really diving in deeper. And so I'm glad that our educators are getting the opportunity to really hone in a little bit more and focus in on this area. I still think very fondly of my librarian from grade school, and she was very well known, and I think that she really put that fostering of the love for reading in me. So I'm glad to see that this is just one tool in our toolbox that we're putting to use, but also that we are starting to collect data, because I think that we do need to be really intentional about, beyond instructional time, what kind of tools we're putting into place, because we know that it goes beyond just classroom hours to really dive deeper into what the love of reading looks like. I'm sure many of us probably remember having a class book or something that we kind of put off to the wayside and had ways to kind of get around some of that coursework. But I think the more that we have opportunities to help our professional development in schools is going to really make all the difference. But I'm excited to see some of the data coming out and have looking forward to seeing what the opportunity for more school districts and schools to be able to utilize this in the future could look like. So I know this is just the beginning. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Representative McCool.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to follow along with what Senator Meredith talked about a little bit about when you get all the data, University of Louisville gets all the data, all the information, they do an analysis of that data, and will they distribute it out to all the schools and KDE to show whether or not this process, and sometimes information doesn't work, which is good if you know that, so you stop it, or it does work, and then you say, okay, this is good, we need to expand it. So what's your process plan for those schools who did not participate? If this turns out to be a really great thing, how are they going to know that if you don't distribute that to them? What's your plan?
I know that the results of the research study will help inform us of what's working in Kentucky and what's not. And we do share that with grantees as they're making decisions. And I'm not sure more broadly, Mickey Ray's plan for the Office of Teaching and Learning, but I know within the Division of Program Standards, that's information that we will use in our interactions with schools and districts as they're making decisions with their funding and selecting programs.
Any other questions? If not, do I have a motion to approve contracts number 35 through 50 on the routine MOA pink list? Motion made by Senator Meredith, second by Senator Richardson. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith,
I'll explain my vote, Mr. Chair.
Go right ahead.
I'm also going to vote yes since I made the motion, but I am concerned about where we're going with our reading readiness. Again, this is my 9th year in the legislature, and it's been an issue each and every year. And the theme seems to be let's collect more data, and then we don't ever move the needle. And the reason I asked the question about do we look for additional appropriation this next budget cycle is because I don't want to spend money that we're not seeing tangible results, and we need to start seeing something that truly is moving the needle, or we're not. Over a decade, our reading scores have fallen, and during the entire time we have collected data and look at demonstrated best practices. I'm interested that we always find new demonstrated best practices, but we never move the needle. So again, I'm approving this, but I do it begrudgingly. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Senator Richardson, Senator Thomas, Representative Ballman, Representative McCool,
Yes.
Representative Rorks,
Aye.
Senator Douglas, Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Let me back up. I just realized I forgot to ask for a motion for approval on item number 9 on the routine PSC green list. So if I could have a motion by Senator Richardson, second by Representative Ballman, and this is for the first item discussed, item number 9 on the routine PCS green list. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith. Senator Richardson. Senator Thomas. Representative Ballman. Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Rourks.
Aye.
Senator Douglas. And Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Next item is item number 60 on the MOA amendment yellow list. And I believe Representative McCool has some questions on that one.
Okay, sorry about that. I thought I already had on. Again, I appreciate that. What is this person doing? Is it part of continuing education? And what type of learning needs do administrators have? Is this one person's salaries, or what is this? Tell me a little bit about this.
Okay, thank you for the question. This person actually supports the Principal Partnership Project. We call it P3, directly providing tools, resources, and professional learning for. It was focused originally on new principals, but has expanded beyond that. So they support the entire state for all administrators, while also conducting our statutory requirements around certified evaluation training and the annual updates.
Okay, that was one of my questions about statutory requirements.
Yes.
So this KDE is supporting this method, or do they have other methods, or does KDE look to this person to handle the whole state?
Oh, there's two other participants or staff that are part of the partnership project, the P3 group, and so the three of them serve the state.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, if I could ask one other quick
Yeah,
question.
go right ahead.
I understand this is federal dollars, so it's non-recurring funds. How is that impacting the recurring funds of this person and their retirement?
So with the MOA, if I understand correctly, the MOA, they're still employed through the district, so their retirement still remains intact as if they were a district employee.
But they're getting a raise with non-recurring funds, right? Which is federal dollars. Is that going to be recurring every year?
The contract amount is based on their daily wage. So whatever their daily wage is, then that's times the number of days on the contract. So it's not particularly a raise because it's based on what their daily wage threshold is now in the district. And the district continues to pay them, and then we pay the district.
So it's giving them more days to work. So that does impact their overall.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You're correct.
So that does increase their retirement package. And,
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions? If not, do I have a motion to consider the contract reviewed without objection? Motion by Senator Richardson. Do I have a second? I have a second by Senator Thomas. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Senator Richardson. Senator Thomas. Representative Ballman.
No.
Representative McCool. Representative Rourks.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
I'd like to explain my vote.
Yes, go right ahead.
I'm going to vote yes because I still like to dig more into that because I just don't want it to be supplanting at the same time using it for just to increase a retirement package or something like that. So I'm a little cautious about that. Yes, thank you.
Senator Douglas, Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you all so much for being
Thank
with us
you.
today. Next item on the pool list is with the Office of the Controller and is number 53 on the routine PSC green list. If the representatives are here, please come forward and identify yourself for the record.
Barbara Dickens, General Counsel of the Finance and Administration Cabinet.
Joe McDaniel, Executive Director, Office of the Controller.
And hi, I'm Sherry Wisman. I'm the Director at State Risk and Insurance Services.
All right, thank you all so much for being here. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you all so much, and I believe Representative Ballman has some questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for being here today. I've got several questions. Actually, Mr. Chairman, I'll try to be as brief as possible, if that's okay.
Go right ahead.
But I'm curious as to, because there were several brokers from inside the state of Kentucky that bid this, why was the decision to go outside the state here? What was the rationale behind that decision?
Thank you, Representative. The process that was made was through the model procurement laws, and the broker who won this contract won it based on both technical and cost scoring.
Okay. And so does the broker that won the bid, that won the contract, do they have experience working in the state of Kentucky?
They do have customers in the state of Kentucky. This is the first time we've signed on with them as the state.
Okay. And were they the low bidder here?
They were not.
Okay. They were not by a pretty large amount, correct?
I don't have that information with me. I'm happy to gather that. I was not part of the scoring and evaluation team.
Okay. Well, I've got a little bit of that information here, so I'm curious again, how did the technical scores, I guess, of a company with very little experience in Kentucky overcome a $600,000 difference in bid price?
I'm happy to provide the information from that procurement to the committee if you guys would so choose, but I don't have that information with me today, sir.
Okay. What about any of your colleagues here at the table? Can anyone answer these questions?
I cannot as well. I wasn't part of the scoring committee.
Okay.
But to know that we were, we looked at all the contracts that were out there, and we looked at the technical proposals.
Got you. Mr. Chairman, given that these questions can't be answered today, they're pretty straightforward questions I would expect to be answered. I'd like to make a motion to disapprove this contract.
All right, I have a motion for disapproval of the contract.
Mr. Chair, my point of information, please.
Go ahead.
I would like Representative Ballman to inform us what he knows that obviously the panel's not sharing with us before we can make a vote. Maybe he knows something that I might be interested in that might help me make a decision regarding our vote. So I'll ask Representative Ballman to answer that question for us.
Yes, sir. It just appears to me that given the experience of other bidders that were previously awarded this contract and the significant difference in the bid price, that I'm concerned that the outcome of this bid process, I'm not alleging, but I am concerned that it may have been predetermined. And again, would like to move forward with my motion to disapprove the contract.
What was the differential? Was it a $600,000 differential between this bid and the lowest bid?
That's correct.
All right. Any further questions, Senator Thomas?
Well, we'll wait to see what the vote is first, and then I may have another motion.
All right, Senator Meredith.
I certainly appreciate Representative Bowman pulling this contract and discussing it. And two, we've had some other issues over the year with contracts of this nature, and I understand the concern. One of the questions I have is on the scoring itself. Who determines the weights? I mean, we get 350, the technical score cost is 100, and orals are 50. Okay, why isn't it 250, 240, 10? I don't know. But to that end, I think there's a lot of questions, not only about the contract itself, but the process and how we award these contracts and how they're scored. So I would like to suggest, so that we can have additional information, that we defer the contract and give these folks a list of questions that we have, so we can be better educated as to how this process works. My first reaction is just to disapprove it, because that is a substantial price increase. But I think we need, if we disapprove it, we kind of shut that door. So I would like to see us defer.
Is that a motion?
Well, we have a standing motion, so we're
First,
waiting to see if there's a second.
If
Mr. Chair.
If Representative Ballman is amenable, then you can withdraw your motion, and then we can proceed with them.
I'd be glad to withdraw the motion and proceed with Senator Meredith's motion.
Okay.
Then I'll second Senator Meredith's motion.
All right. I have a motion by Representative Ballman has rescinded his motion for disapproval. I have a motion by Senator Meredith for deferment, and I have a second by Senator Thomas. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith,
Aye.
Senator Richardson, Senator Thomas,
Aye.
Representative Ballman, Representative McCool,
Yes.
Representative Works,
Aye.
Senator Douglas, Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion for deferment carries, and thank you all so much for being here, and I guess we'll see you next
Mr.
month.
Chair, before they leave the table, may I
Yes.
ask a question?
Go right ahead.
Inasmuch as you folks couldn't answer the questions that we needed today, who should we direct these inquiries to?
You can direct them to me or to any of us on the call. We weren't aware of what the questions would be to be prepared today. But we're happy to answer and provide all information relating to that procurement process.
To that end, Mr. Chair, could we direct our questions to you so you could collect them all and maybe distribute it to the committee members so we can see what's being asked, and then forward those to these individuals?
Yes,
Would that be appropriate?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you all.
Make sure I'm on my right page. The next item on the pool list is with the Department of Highways and is number 30 on the PSC Amendment Ivory list. If representatives are here, please come forward and identify yourself for the record. Are they virtual? Or?
Yes, sir.
All right, there you are. We see you now.
I apologize.
No apologies
Chairman Hart. My name
necessary.
is Stacy Hand with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. I can't tell if you guys can hear me or see me.
We can.
So I do appreciate you all allowing me to participate via virtual.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. Would you please raise your right hand for us? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you so much. And I believe Representative Ballman has a question on this one.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate you joining us today, albeit remotely. But you're asking for an increase of, I believe, $2.8 million. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
2.8.
But the explanation is really no different than the original contract. So obviously we're concerned here and curious as to why the increase and why wasn't it included in the original contract?
Yes, sir. So this contract was set up, I think we explained in the past that it's a third-party contract through our work with the Ohio Department of Transportation. That contract was actually set up to be based on the scope of work to be completed associated with a specific timeline and with specific deliverables and milestones within the project. Their work is not changing. It's just the work that they are providing is tied to specific milestones and specific deliverables. We do have a max of up to $3.5 million for Kentucky's portion, as well as $13 million for the overall contract. So we expect their work to continue throughout the design life of this project.
Okay, yeah, I'm much more confused than I was when we started. So the 2.8 million, it's for milestones. It's some type of balloon payment that they achieve if they're ahead of target, or what's that look like? Help me understand that.
No, sir, it is not a balloon payment. It is a cost plus contract. So they are paid based on the tasks that are completed and based on the work that is completed. So they are reviewing design plans, and those design plans do not They do not go away. They continue to grow. They continue to be submitted. It is a progressive design plan, a progressive design project. So we will continue to get updated design plans throughout the project until we're ready to move into construction. And then even then we will have alterations and changes to those design plans. However, instead of securing the entirety of the 6.5 million, we did want to have the opportunity to update or to review the contract. So it is a phased contract. For instance, when we moved from preliminary engineering, which is the very beginning of the engineering design phase, into more detailed design, which is the phase that we are in now, there was an opportunity there to modify that if we needed to modify that contract once we had a better understanding of the work that they would be completing. However, based on what they've done through the previous months, we felt that scope was appropriate. We just needed to extend the timeline.
Gotcha.
They are supporting our. Obviously, you are all very familiar with the project. It's a very large project. We have the equivalent of 3 KYTC employees dedicated to the project. We need the additional support from the quality assurance manager, in this case, Michael Baker, to help us review those design plans to make sure that when they're submitted, they're meeting our standard specifications as well as KYTC preferences.
Yeah, that's very helpful. I appreciate your explanation there. How much more do you think you're going to need in addition to this 2.0?
I fully expect the contract to go up to our KYTC portion of 6.5 before we're ready to go to full construction.
Thank you.
And
Thank
even
you, Mr.
it'll
Chairman.
take us through a portion of that beginning construction. I apologize, sir.
No, that's all right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions? Senator Meredith.
Not a question as much as a comment. I again appreciate the Representative Bowman's question here, and it's one that we deal with frequently because the thumbnail description we get in these contracts really don't help us. At first glance, it looks like it's a substantial increase in the cost of a project when it's not. It's just the next phase of the project. And we deal with this not only with the Department of Highways, but facilities and port services too, because these projects take many years to complete. So I don't know who's responsible for these contract descriptions, but if someone could help us with that to give us some idea that this is a continuing project, I think that would help us and help you folks, and maybe we wouldn't have to bring you to the table as frequently. But I understand what you're saying, but it's because I've been on this committee for 8 years, and we need to work on that because, again, not you folks, but we've got a contract under Facility Support Services increasing architectural fees by $4 million, and the contract amount's 4.3 already, and it looks like we're just adding additional services on. It's not just continuation of projects. So I don't know how we address this, but it would help us greatly if we understood the phase of these projects, and this is just another step in the process. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? If not, do I have a motion to approve the contract? Motion made by Representative Ballman. Do I have a second? Second by Senator Richardson. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote nay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith. Aye. Senator Richardson. Aye. Senator Thomas. Aye. Representative Ballman. Aye. Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Rorks.
Yes.
Senator Douglas. Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you so much for being with us. The next item on the pool list is with the University of Kentucky and is number 55 on the PSC Amendment Ivory list. If representatives are here, please come forward, identify yourself for the record.
I'm Kevin Locke. I'm the Associate Vice President of Planning, Design, and Construction at the University of Kentucky.
All right, thank you so much. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you so much. And Representative Ballman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for joining us this morning. In this contract, we're asking for an increase of $1 million, but there is absolutely no explanation as to why. So why isn't the original $1 million enough, and what has changed? What's the reason for the increase?
Yeah, I apologize. We do need to do a better job of explaining why we're increasing that. So we are 3/4 of the way into our fiscal year, and we have gone through our $1 million for the architectural cap on our per diem amounts. So when we look at where we are right now, and we anticipate where we're going to be going in the future, we've had some a lot more usage of our per diems because of some new health partners that we have with King's Daughters and St. Clair. So those health systems do not have any in-house design components in them, and so they are increasingly using our architectural MEP per diems significantly. So that, along with just the general amount of construction that we're doing, is causing us to increase the amount of per diems, specifically architectural. So when we look at raising the cap and what we are coming up with there, we also have some pending retirements coming in our in-house design. We do have, it's difficult to compete with the private market when we're hiring mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, architects, things like that. So when I look at what's going to happen in our future, whether or not we can hire an architect, which is retiring in June of this year, I have to take that into consideration. So our in-house design does approximately $250,000 worth of work. If I take that into consideration and put that as a worst-case scenario, and then I add to that the work that we're getting, the increased work that we're getting from King's Daughters, from St. Clair, plus the additional work that we're doing at UK, and then I add about a 25 to 30% increase just for growth to carry us for a couple of years, that comes up with the additional $1 million on top of our $1 million cap that we've got right now. So I know it seems arbitrary, but it is not arbitrary. That's we did have 42 projects in architectural per diem, and we have expended our architectural per diem as of about 2 weeks ago.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Meredith.
Is this one of these authorizations that it's increased by up to $1 million? Is there a possibility
Yes.
you won't be spending
Absolutely.
$1 million?
Yes, sir.
And the reason I pose that question, again, I think it's for the newer members of our committee. I think it's our July meeting. You'll see a ton of new contracts, particularly from University of Kentucky. And I pick on UK, it's just our largest university. And historically, we have improved over $300 million in consulting contracts without any identified project. But each of those contracts is a contract up to, not to exceed. And we've negotiated this time and time again because I've asked, well, it looks like if you have a consulting contract, you should bring that particular project to this committee for approval, but they have so many that it's virtually impossible to do it on a timely basis. So what we have agreed to and negotiated upon is that I think in September, UK provides us with a report on what they've spent the previous year based on the amounts that we have approved for them to proceed forward. But I think this kind of falls in this category. It's just the timing's a little bit off because of these recent acquisitions you had. But
Yes, sir.
good luck with just spending $1 million. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions or comments, do I have a motion to consider the contract reviewed without objection? Motion by Representative Ballman, second by Senator Thomas. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith. Senator Richardson. Senator Thomas. Representative Ballman. Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Rourke.
Yes.
Senator Douglas. And Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
The next items on the pool list are with the Department of Community-Based Services and are numbers 24 and 25 on the MOA Amendment Yellow List. If representatives are here, please come forward and identify yourself for the record.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Dennis, and I am the Commissioner of the Department for Community-Based Services.
Astrid Masterson with the Office of Administrative Services. Amanda Body, Director of the Division of Prevention and Community Wellbeing with Community-Based Services.
All right, thank you all so much for being here. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you so much. And I have some questions, and let's look at item number 24 first. I'm not real familiar with what an external facilitator is. Could you tell us what that is and what that's all about?
So the external facilitator is Kentucky Youth Advocates with this project, and we work with them basically because we work with the lived experts, and it's a way to for them to take on the administrative burden of following the invoices and all of those things with the lived experts as they're turning in their hours and all of that, and then just continuing to pass it along to DCBS.
All right. Is there a lot of time required? What's the time that is required by an external facilitator? About how many hours a week?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Or is it I mean, does it vary with project from project, or?
I would say I wouldn't think it's a huge, because we're still very connected with them. We have that once they the lived experts submit invoices, or submit requests for work, they always communicate with us so that we can approve it. So I wouldn't say it's a huge amount of extra time, but I'm not sure exactly.
Okay.
And I would say, yes, it varies from project to project.
Okay. Can you explain to us why the original contract amount wasn't enough, and why you asked for I think it was $265,000 more in funding?
So we've been working with Kentucky Youth Advocates with our lived experts for probably about a couple of years now, and as we develop our partnership with them and with our lived experts, we have found their support and expertise very valuable when we're looking at the development of policies and implementation, and they work very closely with our regional leadership across the state. And as we have grown that council and the leadership across the state has seen the value of their support and their input, we continue to have requests for additional support from the Trusted Advisor Council around projects and programs.
All right, thank you. Can you give me some insight into what set the Kentucky Youth Advocates apart from maybe other external facilitators?
We work with Kentucky Youth Advocates on a number of different projects, and they were working with lived experts already, and had a lot of connections, and some again they had. So they had done work in this space for us, not for us, but previously, and it felt like a natural relationship to continue.
So they had some experience.
Yes.
Yes, and they had the infrastructure with the training and also the recruitment as part of their process with their work already. So it made sense for us to kind of piggyback on the work that they were already doing.
All right. One final question: is there like a metrics, or do you have any metrics that about how many people the Trusted Advisor Council has or uses? Or how many they reach? Maybe that's a better way to phrase that.
I'm not sure the current number. I think we have on our contract a max of 20 right now, because we're looking at expanding. When the Trusted Advisors was originally conceived, it was for a specific project, and then with our strategic plan at the time, and then as we've been expanding a lot of our projects in prevention in other areas throughout the state, like the commissioner was saying, then our need has expanded. So I think right now we're trying to get up to around 20 to meet the need.
All right, thanks so much. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Senator Meredith, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Looking at number 24 again, increasing by $265,000. It says it comes from general funds. This is above and beyond what was originally budgeted for this. Is that correct?
Yes.
So where does the $265,000 come from? Are you shifting resources from one program to another? And if you are, which programs are we shifting from to give to this, or is it just, or are we overspending budget?
I think it's no, in that it was within your budget.
Right. Yes, was within our budget, and this again, this program supports programs across the department, which there was a budget appropriation for. So this is a supportive support to those different programs across DCBS.
I'm not sure you answered my question though. It's not budgeted, so we have to bring the funds from somewhere. Where are we bringing the funds from? Are we spending more than what was budgeted for this?
So again, I think when we look at those appropriations for programs that this trusted advisor council supports, that those funds are coming from those different those different appropriations.
Technically speaking, not a whole lot of money, but the process concerns me. Two reasons. One, with the kinship care program we authorized a couple of years ago, we were told at the time we passed that legislation that funding was there. And then when it came time to implement it, it was not. We passed several bills over the last two sessions that the governor has refused to implement because he says we didn't make an appropriation for. So I don't know why this doesn't fall in the same category as that if you need an additional $265,000, why there wasn't an appropriation request at the time the budget was developed for that purpose. And if you haven't seen anything that convinces me that even though this comes from helping other services, that you're decreasing the costs in those additional areas to pay for this. So looks like there's some loose money here.
I will say one of the ways that we're looking at reducing the costs is in efficiency. I know you talked about before in one of the previous testimonies about, collecting a lot of data and not doing anything with it. There's some research from, I think, 2021, Frontiers of Psychology. We're using Lyft experts helps increase the efficiency because we're able to guide and direct the programs that we're doing without, and we have several pilots ongoing right now without doing as much guesswork because the people that are most affected are the ones that are consulting and guiding on the process. So in that way, we are being more efficient with our spending.
I appreciate that. Sounds like in theory that's how it works, but nobody can give me any definite numbers as to where those savings are coming from and how much those savings are going to be.
Senator Meredith, could we provide that information, gather that information, and provide it to you after this, so we can gather it for you?
Well, I appreciate that, but again, it just looks like this wasn't a budgeted expense. You're asking us to increase it, but no really definitive answer where those funds are going to come from. And without that, it just looks like we're spending more than what we budgeted for. And we're not in a position to do that. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right. And if you could collect that information and provide
Sure.
it to the committee, that would be helpful.
Absolutely.
In the future.
Yeah.
Any other? Senator Thomas.
Well, first I want to say I'm not going to engage this morning, particularly on this subject matter about what the governor did or didn't do, because I trust Governor Beshear to act responsibly when it comes to appropriating funds. I think what Senator Meredith is asking, because we can't approve funds that you can't spend. So I'm very clear about that. If we increase it and the money's not there, you can't spend it. So I assume that when you're asking for an increase of $265,000 plus that you have the money from budgeted funds. Am I correct in that assumption?
Yes.
Am I correct in that assumption?
Yes. Sorry, I'm not there in budget, but yes, that is my understanding as well. Yes.
Mr. Chair, if I could, I'd like to make a motion to defer this contract so they can provide us with information next meeting as to where this funding is going to come from specifically.
I have a motion by Senator Meredith to defer the contract and a second by Representative Ballman. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote nay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith,
Aye.
Senator Richardson, Senator Thomas,
Mr. Chair, I'm going to vote no, for the reason that I did ask the panel whether the funds had been appropriated from other sources. They said yes. I don't have any reason to dispute what they're saying. They're under oath. They took an oath before they sat down, or when they sat down. So, they're obviously subject to the laws of perjury if they're lying. So I'm going to accept their yes as being very factual. I understand the questions here, but at this point, I don't have enough to vote in favor of the motion, so I'm going to vote no.
Representative Ballman?
Yes.
Representative McCool?
Yes.
Representative Rorks?
No.
Senator Douglas? Chairman Hart?
Yes. Motion carries, and it will be deferred, and I'll give you all enough time to get everything together for us.
Mr. Chairman, if I
go right
may,
ahead.
Again, with my question is not question the integrity of these folks. I know the job that you have to do, but we're not like the federal government. We can't print money, and the expectation we're going to have accountability for every dollar that we spend. And again, based on the information I received this morning, I can't make that determination. I believe them wholeheartedly to say the money's there from other sources. I just want to know what those other sources are. And as somebody who's vested responsibility of looking for the fiduciary security of the state, I think it's a reasonable expectation. So I don't want you all to be offended by my questions. I just want to have accountability, and when we have that, it gives accountability to you folks as well. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Any other comments on that? If not, we're going to move to item number 25. And I have a question on this. I understand this is a modification of an existing contract. However, with the implementation of House Bill 4, it would appear that the University of Louisville Research Foundation is no longer eligible to provide these services. This is clearly a DEI/social justice contract. While House Bill 4 has no jurisdiction over the executive branch, it does have jurisdiction over state-funded universities and their affiliates. So my question is, wouldn't you all need to find a new vendor at this point? And that's based on House Bill 4 implementation.
This might be a not that strict. Yeah.
That's
Sorry.
That's
Sorry.
fine. That's fine.
Yeah, hi, Wesley Duke. I'm the General Counsel at the Cabinet. How are y'all today?
Just fine.
Want me to
Yeah. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right,
Thank you.
I'm sorry for.
No worries, no worries. No, and I think at this time right now, as we look at the implementation of all new legislation and how it affects all the programs of the Cabinet, obviously we are, trying to see how everything is going to shake out after, like I said, there's a lot of bills passed and a lot of, and we are a large cabinet, and a lot of things affect us. So so we are definitely looking at everything in regard to the effect of legislation, including this piece that you just discussed here. At this time, I don't think any final decisions have been made, but once again, implementation is underway, and just trying to work our way through that.
Okay. Again, you might not be able to answer this, but moving forward, knowing that this is possibly going to, the vendor's possibly going to have to change because of this new bill that's going to go into effect. Is it prudent to try to approve a contract right now, knowing that the vendor could change?
So the modification for this is just for a BAA, which is a business associate agreement, which is just a document that, or I shouldn't say just a document, but is a document to protect information that's within our cabinet. So the contract is an already active contract. Its modification is truly just adding the business associate agreement to the contract.
Yeah, and if I may add to that, we use business associate agreements with a lot, or really most of our vendors, to make sure protected information stays protected and is used according with state and federal laws. And that is, like you said, this, like was said, this is an existing contract, which we felt that given the nature of some of the information that could get exchanged, that we need to put a BAA in place just to protect everyone's interest. So that's where we are here today on this.
Okay.
So, yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. You've explained it to me. Any other questions? Senator or Representative Rourke.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to kind of think out loud here. I know the question was around House Bill 4 implementation, which House Bill 4 was the anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion law that went into place for this year. When I read the scope or the agreement description, I know that this is not about increasing or decreasing funds, but when I look at that description and see, University of Louisville Research Foundation as the vendor, and this is about senior advisor on public health, in the description it talks about, the intersection of poverty and racism. And I remember on the House floor, there was a lengthy floor debate about historical fact and protected groups as well in terms of Title IX, and there was a lot of dialogue around that. And so I just want to be really clear that historical facts that would inform upon health outcomes or public health do have a factual basis, and the roots of poverty and racism being interconnected. And I think that's a historical fact when we look at things like denying of the GI Bill to the black population, and then also where redlining exists in the city of Louisville, and then what followed suit. I think those are historical facts and do have an impact on what we see in terms of public health, in terms of the placement of Rubbertown, cancer rates that follow West Louisville, and also along the South End districts, including my own, that fall along the Ohio River. I think those are things that are just facts that we have to look at when we look at public health, that also have racial components, but they also have socioeconomic ones too. So while House Bill 5 does have limitations that will be implemented on, I do want to just also address that I'm not a lawyer, so that's not for me to decide, but I do think that there are some very clear things that we cannot deny, and House Bill 4 can also not prohibit.
Okay. Senator Meredith.
Appreciate those remarks, but it reminds me, I've got a great sensitivity to what occurs in Louisville, particularly in the West End, because when I was a kid, we lived there. But the same challenges are quite evident and apparent in rural Kentucky. I guarantee you every statistic you can give me that's impacting the West End of Louisville, which where the majority of the poverty is, I can give you comparable, if not great, statistics for rural Kentucky. And I'd like to see where the contract is to address those inequities for Kentucky. And the statistic I use most frequently is the fact that 40% of our population is rural. Healthcare specific, only 17% of our primary care physicians are there. And that isn't a social injustice. I don't know what is, but we don't want to address those kind of issues. So when we're trying to stratify this according to race, I think this really should be a colorblind issue. And it's not, and that's what concerns me. I want to address all these issues, but we need to do it on a very broad spectrum to make sure nobody's overlooked. And rural Kentucky continues to be overlooked regardless of your race, creed, or national origin. But thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Do I have a motion for approval of contract number or item number 25? I have a motion by Representative Rourke. Do I have a second? Second by Senator Thomas. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote nay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith.
Suspend my vote, Mr. Chair.
Go right ahead.
I vote no because I don't think it is consistent with the intent of House Bill 4. Thank you.
Senator Richardson. No. Senator Thomas. Aye. Representative Ballman.
No.
Representative McCool.
No.
Representative Rourke.
Yes.
Senator Douglas. Chairman Hart.
I vote no. Motion fails, and it will proceed. It'll continue to go on through to the finance cabinet. So, thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The final The final item on the pull list is with the Medicaid service benefits and is number 65 on the MOA amendment yellow list. If the representatives are here, please come forward and identify yourself for the record.
Good morning. I'm Lisa Lee. I'm the Commissioner for the Department for Medicaid Services.
And I'm Justin Derringer, Director for the Division of Healthcare Policy.
All right, thank you all so much for being here. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you so much. And I have one question. You're asking for additional funds to provide, but there was really not a lot of explanation as to why. And you have $358 million. Could you just explain why you would need the $2 million increase?
Yes, this contract is for non-emergency medical transportation services for our Medicaid members. Last year, we provided over 2 million trips, and as you can imagine, medical appointments are somewhat sporadic. Although we know healthcare trends and we know the trends, sometimes those appointments may be more or less for each month, and we have noticed that we have increased transportation trips. Therefore, we need more funds to make sure that this contract is actuarially sound for our non-emergency medical transportation providers.
And when you're talking about that, that's more or less being able to transport people to like doctor's appointments, physical therapy appointments, and a lot of times you're using like lack of a better van buses and different things like that. So it's not necessarily ambulances. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So non-emergency medical transportation most of the time does not use ambulances. They can use regular cars, they can use buses, vans, and these individuals are being transported to any type of medical appointment that's medically necessary from a Medicaid provider to a Medicaid recipient. So they're going to doctor's visits, they're going to physical therapy, they may be going to outpatient surgeries, and so they're going to those types of trips to and from using commercial vehicles that are certified through the Kentucky Department for Transportation for those purposes.
All right, thanks so much. Senator Meredith has a question, I think.
Do y'all have any statistics on these medical trips, like the average distance?
Yes, we work with the Office of Transportation Delivery in the cabinet or the Transportation Cabinet, and we receive routine reports that shows distance, mileage, the number of individuals, what sort of vehicle is used, how many complaints they get per month, per year. Happy to share those reports with you.
Yeah, I'm curious what the average distance is, and again, it goes back to that health manpower shortage that we have in rural Kentucky. And I just call the community's attention. This is a $360 million contract. And if we had healthcare providers that are more local, how much could we impact that? And the issue is always that we don't have enough money to pay these providers. That's why we can't recruit into rural Kentucky. But we got $360 million here. So I would like to see those statistics and see how we might be able to impact that. But
I will provide the latest annual report for you.
You always do. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Representative Rourke.
Hello, thank you for being here with us. I also wanted to know how we've done a lot to improve upon transportation needs, especially non-medical transport, but also medical as well. Do we have any updated information on what the wait time for non-medical is looking like and the consistency in response to make sure that people are able to get their appointments on time?
Yeah, our contract requires our members to have a transportation. They have to notify the broker 72 hours in advance to schedule their trip. I'm not sure about wait times.
Well, so within that 72 hours, we expect that everybody gets the appointment scheduled that they need to, so there are no wait times. We also have a 24-hour emergency so non-ambulance emergency, so anything that's non-ambulatory, the example that maybe somebody that's pregnant and needs to get to the hospital, but they're not actually in active labor, but they just really need to get there within the next day or so. So we have a 24-hour emergency line that they can call and schedule that appointment for 24 hours instead of 72. We have a wait time as far as being waited to being picked up. Any time that is exceeds a certain time frame, they can call in and make a complaint. We have a complaint hotline that tracks all of that, and that's also in that annual report that we can provide.
Any other? Go ahead.
Just a quick comment for Commissioner Lee. I think this may be a good subject for the interim for us to talk about. So I'm just kind of put you on notice there.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Do I have a motion to approve contract number 25 or item number 25? Motion by Senator Merritt. Do I have a second? Second by Senator Richardson. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith. Senator Richardson. Senator Thomas. Representative Ballman. Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Rorks.
Aye.
Senator Douglas. And Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
Please take a moment and review item number 12 on your agenda. Is there a motion to approve? A motion by Senator Meredith. Do I have a second? Second by Senator Richardson. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith. Senator Richardson. Senator Thomas. Representative Ballman. Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Rorks.
Aye.
Senator Douglas. And Chairman Hart.
I vote aye. Just for the people that's out there listening, item number 12 was an exemption request. Just so you all know what we voted on. Before our next meeting will be May 13th, 2025 at 9 a.m. in this room, provided there's no other natural calamities or emergencies that would prohibit us from meeting. So thanks everybody for coming here, and we